Hey, can I tell you something that actually broke my heart a little when I first found out? I had my first Syrian hamster. His name was Biscuit, and I thought he was the happiest little guy in the world. He'd run to me every evening, let me hold him, eat from my hand. I honestly thought, okay, I'm doing this right. I'm a good hamster parent. And then one night I set up a little camera just for fun, just to see what he was up to while I slept. And what I saw completely changed how I understood him. He wasn't just sitting there in his cage waiting for me. He had this whole secret life happening. And I remember sitting there at 2 in the morning, watching the footage with my jaw literally dropped, going, I had no idea. I had absolutely no idea. So if you've ever wondered what your Syrian hamster actually does when you're not around, at night, when the house is quiet, when it's just them, this video is going to blow your mind. And honestly, it might make you love them even more than you already do. Let's get into it. The first thing your Syrian hamster does when they're alone, and this one genuinely surprised me, is they do this full body stretch and yawn that looks almost human, like we're talking front legs out, little back arched, mouth wide open. It's called a pandiculation, which is the same thing cats and dogs and even we do when we wake up. And Syrians do it every single night before they start their adventures. Here's the thing though, it's not just adorable, it's actually meaningful. That stretch is their body waking up their muscles, getting blood flowing, signaling to their brain, okay, it's time, we're doing this. And for a Syrian hamster, nighttime isn't just a little activity time, it is their whole world coming alive. Their heart rate goes up, their senses sharpen, their little nose starts going a mile a minute. Most owners never see this moment because they're asleep. But it happens every single night, like clockwork. Your Hammy has a whole morning routine. It's just at midnight. Number 2 is something I call the nightly patrol. And once you know about it, you'll never look at your hamster's cage the same way again. Every single night, when your Syrian hamster wakes up, they do a full inspection of their entire enclosure. Every corner, every tube, every toy, every spot where you might have touched something. They're checking, is everything where it should be? Did anything change? Is there a new smell? Is there a threat? I remember one time I moved Biscuit's wheel just a few inches to the left, just a few inches, and that night on camera, he spent almost 20 minutes investigating that wheel before he'd even touch it, sniffing it from every angle, circling it, backing away, coming back, like a tiny detective who was very suspicious of this wheel's new location. That's not weird hamster behavior, that's actually a survival instinct that's thousands of years old. In the wild, Syrian hamsters live in burrows in the Syrian steppe, and they need to know their territory inside and out to stay safe. Any change could mean predator. Any new smell could mean danger. So they map their world obsessively, and they update that map every single night. This is also why, if you rearrange their enclosure too often, it genuinely stresses them out. Their whole sense of safety is built around knowing exactly where everything is. Okay, number 3. And this one, I wish someone had told me before I bought a tiny little cage from a pet store, is deep digging. And I mean deep. When Syrian hamsters are alone and comfortable and feeling safe, they dig. Not just a little scratch here and there. We're talking full excavation. They will dig tunnels that go 6, 8, 10 inches down if you give them enough substrate. They'll create chambers, little rooms, a sleeping chamber, sometimes a food storage chamber, sometimes just a spot they like to sit in that feels hidden and cozy. The craziest part is, a Syrian hamster in the wild will dig a burrow system that goes almost 3 feet underground. 3 feet. For an animal that fits in your hand. So when you have them in a cage with 2 inches of bedding, they're still trying. They're still going through the motions of digging because that instinct is so deeply wired into who they are. They just can't finish. And that's actually a source of frustration and stress for them. This is why enclosure size and substrate depth matter so much for Syrian hamster care specifically. You want at least 6 inches of substrate, ideally more, like 8 to 10. Paper-based bedding works beautifully, and honestly, Watching a hamster who finally has enough depth to actually dig a real tunnel is one of the most satisfying things you'll ever see as a hamster parent. They look so purposeful, so happy, so completely in their element. Have you ever given your hammy deep enough substrate to actually dig? Because if not, that's the one upgrade that will genuinely change their life overnight. Number 4. The wheel. The wheel, you guys. Okay, so everyone knows hamsters run on wheels. That's like Hamster 101. But what most people don't realize is how much they run, and why, and what it means when they can't. Studies have shown that Syrian hamsters in the wild can travel up to 5 miles in a single night searching for food, mates, and new territory. 5 miles. So when your hamster is alone at night and they jump on that wheel, they're not playing. They're running because something in their body and brain needs them to cover ground. It's compulsive in the best possible way. It's who they are. I remember checking Biscuit's wheel counter one morning and genuinely not believing what I was seeing. This tiny, fluffy creature had run the equivalent of almost 4 miles overnight in his little enclosure, just going and going and going. But here's where this gets serious, and I want you to really hear this. Wheel size matters enormously for Syrian hamsters specifically. Your wheel needs to be at least 11 inches in diameter. 12 is even better. If it's smaller, your hamster has to arch their back to run, and that can cause spinal issues over time. Real, painful spinal issues. A lot of beginner Syrian hamster setups come with wheels that are way too small, and the hamster will still run because they have to, but every run is slowly hurting them. If your wheel is 8 or 9 inches, please upgrade it. Today, if you can, your hammy will literally run more freely, more happily, and their little spine will thank you. Okay, we are at number 5, and this one is so cute and so instinctual that it makes me a little emotional every time I think about it. When your Syrian hamster is alone, especially right after you've given them food, they go into full-on hoarder mode, and I mean that with so much love. They will stuff their cheek pouches until they look like a completely different animal, like their head has doubled in size. And then they'll run back to their little stash spot and unload everything, and then run back for more. Those cheek pouches can hold almost half their body weight in food. Half their body weight. If a human could do that proportionally, we'd be walking around with like 40 pounds stored in our cheeks. But here's what gets me. They're not doing this because they're greedy. They're doing it because some part of them, deep down in their instincts, still believes that food might run out, that they need to prepare, that tomorrow might be harder than today. It's this tiny little act of survival and hope, all wrapped up in one adorably puffy face. The thing to watch for, though, make sure they're not storing fresh or wet foods in their hoard. Things like fruits, veggies, cooked proteins, those can rot in the bedding, and your hamster will still eat them because they don't know any better. Check their stash spot every few days when you spot clean. It's such an easy thing to do, and it can prevent some really serious health issues. Number 6 is something I call the solo spa session, and it is arguably one of the most adorable things a Syrian hamster does when they think no one is watching. Your hamster is actually a very clean animal, like obsessively clean, and when they're alone, they'll take long breaks from their other activities to do full grooming sessions. They use their front paws to wash their face, rubbing in these quick little circles. They'll clean their ears, they'll lick their fur, they'll even groom their tail. It can last anywhere from 2 minutes to almost 15 minutes sometimes, and they get into it, really into it. It's methodical, it's thorough, and it's genuinely peaceful looking. Now here's the important thing. If you notice your Syrian hamster stops grooming themselves as much as they used to, or if their fur starts looking rough or greasy or matted, that's actually a health warning sign. A hamster who feels unwell often stops grooming. So as weird as it sounds, their spa sessions are actually one of the easiest ways to monitor their health without even touching them. Just watch. Are they keeping themselves tidy? Good. Are they looking rough and neglected? Time to check in with a vet. Number 7 is nest building, but not just nest building. What they build when nobody's watching is genuinely architectural. During the day, or when you're around, your hamster might look like they're just kind of rearranging their bedding randomly. But at night, when they're fully comfortable and alone, they go into full construction mode. They'll gather material from every corner of the enclosure. They'll carry pieces of tissue, or torn cardboard, or nesting fluff in their mouth. They'll arrange it in layers, softer stuff on the inside, coarser material on the outside. The result is this perfectly round, enclosed little nest, with a small entrance hole that they can close behind them. It keeps them warm, it keeps them hidden, it smells like them, which makes them feel safe. And here's the thing that got me. When Biscuit was stressed, his nest would get really flat and messy. When he was happy and settled, his nest was this beautiful, tightly packed little sphere. I started using his nest as a mood ring, basically. A beautifully built nest means a happy, secure hamster. A flattened, scattered mess might mean something's off. Temperature, noise, stress, illness. Give your hamster plenty of nesting material. Unscented tissue paper is amazing. Dedicated hamster nesting fluff works great too. This is one of those areas where more is genuinely more. Number 8. This one gave me chills the first time I really understood it. Your Syrian hamster, when completely alone in the middle of the night, will suddenly stop everything, stop running, stop digging, stop eating, and they'll sit completely still with their nose going absolutely crazy, twitching so fast it almost blurs, and their ears swiveling independently in different directions. They're reading the world. A Syrian hamster has roughly 1,000 times more scent receptor sensitivity than we do. And in those still, quiet moments alone, they're processing an enormous amount of information from the air around them. Your scent from earlier, the smell of food from 3 rooms away, whether the air feels different tonight than it did last night. Their hearing is similarly extraordinary. They can detect ultrasonic frequencies we can't even perceive, so those sounds you can't hear, other animals moving outside, pipes in the walls, electronics humming, your hamster hears all of it. This is why nighttime noise and vibration matters so much for Syrian hamster care. Even if your hamster seems fine during the day, if there's a TV playing loudly nearby at night, or a washing machine running, or bass from music, they're experiencing a sound environment that can be genuinely overwhelming and stressful. Where you place their enclosure matters. Away from speakers, away from high traffic areas, away from windows where outside sounds come in. A quiet corner is a gift to them. Number 9 is scent marking. And this is where things get really fascinating. Your Syrian hamster has scent glands on their hips. You can actually see them if you know what to look for. They look like small, slightly darker patches on either side of their lower back. And when your hamster is alone and exploring, they'll regularly rub their sides against objects, against the walls of their enclosure, along their favorite paths. They're writing, essentially, leaving messages to themselves, and in the wild, to other hamsters. This is mine. I was here. This is the path to my burrow. This is safe. Female Syrian hamsters also use scent marking to signal their reproductive cycle, which is why Syrian hamsters should always be housed alone. They're solitary by nature and can become incredibly aggressive if forced to share space, even with their own kind. But in a single hamster home, that scent marking is just them making their world feel familiar and owned and comfortable. It's a sign of a settled, confident hamster. And here's something really important. When you clean their enclosure, you don't want to clean everything perfectly. Leave some of their scent behind. Clean in sections. Keep some used bedding. Because coming home to a completely sterile environment, one that smells like nothing they recognize, can genuinely terrify them. Number 10 is something I call the midnight freeze. And once you know what it is, you'll understand so much more about your hamster's inner world. Completely randomly, in the middle of an otherwise normal night, your Syrian hamster will freeze, full stop, every muscle locked, eyes wide, not moving a muscle for sometimes 30 seconds, sometimes a full minute. Then they'll either bolt in one direction or slowly relax and go back to what they were doing. What's happening is a predator response. Something, a sound, a smell, a change in air pressure, a shadow, triggered their prey animal brain into going, potential threat, don't move, assess. And here's the heartbreaking part. They do this even in the safest, most loving home, because that wiring doesn't know it's safe. That wiring is ancient and it's there to keep them alive. And it fires sometimes even when there's no danger at all. The way you know your hamster is truly settled and trusting their environment is when these freeze episodes are rare and brief. A hamster who's constantly freezing, constantly startling, constantly on alert even at home, that's a hamster who feels unsafe. And that chronic stress is genuinely hard on their tiny bodies. Creating a calm, low vibration, predictably quiet night environment for your Syrian hamster isn't just nice, it's genuinely important for their health and their lifespan. And number 11. Okay, this last one is my absolute favorite, and I've saved it for last because it's the one that made me fall completely in love with Syrian hamsters all over again when I first witnessed it. When your Syrian hamster is alone, feeling safe, feeling healthy, feeling like everything in their world is exactly right, they play. Not exercise, not foraging, not surviving. They actually genuinely play. They'll do these sudden little hops, run in a zigzag for no reason, grab a toy and toss it, dig furiously for 30 seconds and then stop and look around like, yep, great, that was fun. Climb something, get to the top, look around, climb back down. There's no survival purpose to any of it. It's joy. It's a hamster who feels so secure, so content, so at ease with their life, that they have energy and space left over just to be happy. And I know that sounds like me projecting, but ethologists, animal behavior scientists, actually recognize play behavior in hamsters as a real documented thing. It happens most in hamsters who are well socialized, well housed, and low stress. It's basically a report card that says, you're doing this right. The first time I saw Biscuit do his little happy zigzag run at 2 in the morning, I actually cried a little, because I'd worked so hard to get his setup right, the big enclosure, the deep substrate, the right wheel, the quiet corner, and there he was, running around like a tiny chaos goblin just because life was good. That's all they want, honestly, just to feel safe enough to play. So here's what I want you to take away from all of this. Your Syrian hamster has this whole rich, secret life happening while you sleep. They're stretching and patrolling and digging and running and hoarding and grooming and building and listening and marking their world and freezing and playing. They are not bored little creatures sitting in a box waiting for you. They are full of instincts and wonder and personality and need. And the more you understand that secret life, the better you can support it. Deeper substrate for the digging, a bigger wheel for the running, a quiet corner for the listening, clean sections at a time for the scent marking, enough nesting material to build something worthy of them. You don't have to be a perfect hamster parent. None of us are. I made so many mistakes with Biscuit early on, and I think about them sometimes. But the fact that you're here, watching this, trying to understand your Hammy better, that already makes you one of the good ones. Welcome to HammyRealm. We're really glad you're here. And hey, if you want to know the 11 biggest mistakes new Syrian hamster owners make without realizing it, and how to fix every single one of them, I've got that video ready for you right now. I promise it's going to save you some heartbreak. Go watch it. Your Hammy will thank you. See you there.